What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to talk a little bit about impressing the subconscious mind and how to become more and more conscious of the thoughts that you're allowing to impress your subconscious mind, and some techniques to let go of some of the unconscious thoughts of fear and separation and anxiety and worst case scenarios and disempowering thoughts and beliefs and assumptions. And so getting into more and more of understanding the subconscious, realize that you're already doing this, so it's like you're not really learning anything new. You're just kind of operating it correctly for the first time, so everything that's gone on in the quote unquote past, is something that can either be let go of, revised, or reinterpreted through a lens of unity, oneness, harmony, and realizing that you've always been manifesting. Your thoughts have always been impressing your subconscious mind, projecting out into external reality through your perception and through the connectedness of the subconscious through all of creation. It's all connected in this way that we're still kind of learning and understanding, but the more that we're able to see that, how that connects, where you have an thought that's empowering, and next thing you know, that empowering thought has a physical manifestation attached to it, where the world likes to teach, and this is what we've all been taught, really, it's like first you get the external event, circumstance, prize, whatever, and then you get the state of being, when it's actually inverted. That's inverted, so first you actually get it in consciousness, and what you assume in consciousness and what you allow to penetrate your subconscious, that's what becomes externalized. And the problem becomes not so much when the desirable beliefs and assumptions are manifesting, and you can look at your life as being a reflection of all of these things, so there's areas where you're kicking ass, you're doing a fucking awesome job, your beliefs and your assumptions, by looking at the mirror of your life and going, oh, this is going great for me. Whereas, you might look at other areas of your life that are total shit show and go, oh, okay, well, instead of thinking I'm a victim, which is like what the old mindset likes to do, it's always blaming other people, blaming God, blaming life situations and circumstances on, oh, some external force is out to get me or whatever. Instead of taking ownership of your beliefs and your assumptions that are the root of that problem, starting to kind of look at your life in that way. That's why stewarding is a pretty important concept, because it's like you are already at what you can handle in consciousness with what you have, and it's not until you change your consciousness and let go of the limitations and the oh, I'm not worthy of this, or oh, I'm going to push love away because I'm afraid of it. Once you start letting those things go, then it naturally will have a different reflection, and so, so much of what we desire is just wholeness, harmony, peace, love, joy, all these like heavenly states. And the problem is we don't necessarily know how to manifest those things, but as you let go of the beliefs and the assumptions that are unconsciously creating like a hell for you to deal with, sickness, death, poverty, all of these things that just suck, and they suck because you can feel how it drains your energy. It's really important moving forward to kind of monitor your energy levels, and look at things as either giving energy, or just like notice the things that are in the present moment are draining your attention and your energy, because a lot of what is draining your energy and your attention are these thoughts of error that have now manifested in separateness. And to continue to create in separateness, those manifestations need to draw the energy from you to be, whereas, moving forward in the new creation that you are, manifesting in the here and now through the field of the quantum field is one way to say it, the subconscious, the whatever, through God, through life, through harmony, through oneness, however you want to say it. These are just words, but it's like an inner understanding of, in the old mindset that we, we're manifesting through separateness. It's like there's all these external factors to kind of plod and push through and fucking deal with and just pound and grind through it. Not to say that doesn't work, through your own, you almost becomes like a faith level of like, I can do this. kind of attitude. No matter what comes my way, I'll push through it and I'll fucking grind and get it done. That's one way you can do things. But with that then comes fears of loss, fears of scarcity, a lot of unforeseen bullshit and drama, because you're looking at everything as being separate, and creating in separateness just continues to create more and more fear and suffering. But the error in that is like, well, next time, it'll be different. Next time, next time it'll work if I just did more. If I just did more of it, then it would work. And you can see that kind of same mentality in the world when it comes to like the vax and all this shit. It's like, well, it didn't work the first time, but we're going to keep doubling down on it and doubling down on it until now it's just become a fucking circus and a joke. But with so much of like creating in separateness, it is a joke, because it's not ultimate reality or true. It's creating an illusion. And getting out of that is getting more into making decisions based on harmony and realizing this interconnectedness between yourself, your consciousness, not talking yourself as in your body, which is a reflection of mind, but it's more of like the actual consciousness that you are being externalized and being mirrored. And it's ultimately your relationship with God, because you are connected with your creator in this way that's kind of unfolding. What does that mean? It's like, well, it's unfolding. If you look at the Bible, it says Jesus is within you, and so getting out of like this old mentality where Jesus was separate from you, and it's the same story being told many different ways, where it's like you have this belief in this external force, which I believe is like the sin of Adam, where it's like you're constantly reacting to the mirror, and instead of realizing that that it's within you, is the cause for the mirror's reflection. So it's like the old way of thinking about it is like you see a reflection of a frowny face, but you don't realize that all you have to do is smile, and then the reflection will start to show you that. It's getting out of this this old way of thinking about things, which takes quote unquote time, but it really takes more and more of just letting go of the old beliefs and just getting to a knowing that this is what's going on. It's getting back to square one, letting go of all the bullshit that the world taught that's just an error, that's just like verifiably just not accurate or true. But you have to get to that point where you disregard that drama and disregard these limiting beliefs and these fairy tales that maybe your parents taught you, that your family believes, but that, look around. Everything that ever other people have was given to them by God, through their beliefs and their consciousness. And so there's no reason to be envious or jealous of anybody, because if God gave that to them, it's for you as well. But it's letting go of these like, oh, poor me, I'm a victim, I live in a poor part of the state, or I live in a poor there's no opportunities where I live, and this is for other people, and these bullshit beliefs and these bullshit ways of thinking. It's like, everything other people have done, when you shift your mentality and looking at it like, wow, they could do it, I could do it in a totally unique way, but excel. It's like with music, it's like or anything really, in creation, but like music is a good example, because it's like you watch the progression of like guitar playing, for example, where it's just like, oh, you listen to the 50s guitar players that are just like kind of just strumming rhythmically and kind of like not really standing out, all the way up to like Hendrix to blues, and this progression of guitar playing, where it's like now you see a 13-year-old that's like playing fucking shit that Eddie Van Halen was like, it's fucking insane. It's just like, oh, this guy's been playing for however long, it's like you hear like the Eruption solo or whatever. It's like, fuck, that was crazy, and then now a 13-year-old can just and tap and just like do all this shit, and it's just like, oh, it's nothing. It's something new, something new is happening now. So it's like everything is constantly evolving and growing, which is a good thing, because I feel like it's a divine attribute of growth. It's always growing and evolving, and it's never standing still, but it's always it's almost like a tree, where it's just like these branches keep going and going, and the ones that are fucking just limiting and bullshit, just allow those to stop growing. It's like to trim those branches, and it's like once you let go of the bullshit and the drama, what's left is a state where you're not in constant fear and worry and anxiety and limitations, where you start to trust more and more so that the thoughts that you're allowing in And it's not even that you're controlling the thoughts. That's kind of a stumbling block of trying to control them. But realize that your thoughts are reflecting the state of consciousness that you're in. So if you're in the old state of consciousness of fear and separation, and you start getting these thoughts and you're believing them and you're starting to react to them, well, it's a good sign. Then it might start manifesting in subtle ways, or it might start showing you in the mirror that you believe these things, which gives you the opportunity to put on the new man and stand in faith and realize that only love is real and this is an illusion. The outcome of this is going to be different than the quote-unquote past, when that was a fearful, hysterical event, which takes courage, on some level, to be able to stand in faith like that. But as you grow your faith, the easier it becomes to be like, oh, well, this is just part of the flow. This is part of the bridge of incidents that you're just being compelled to walk through. Look at everything that's happening as being perfectly happening to manifest heaven on earth for you and your consciousness right now. And so it's like, well, there's some drama. There's like, somebody just came up with a sickness. Someone who's in the hospital. Someone, I just got fired from my job. Some worst case scenario or whatever just happened. And it's like, okay, well, you can have a pity party about that, start becoming reactive to that, or you can just start to let go of, or just start monitoring your thoughts. Start looking at your thoughts. What's happening in the face of this neutral event. Well, it's not neutral, Mike. This is a worst case scenario. This is life and death, and it's like, okay, well, that's what you're impressing your subconscious mind with unconsciously. These are your beliefs, is this being brought up in your consciousness to either deal with them, or you're going to just bury them back down, but they're still going to be there to unconsciously continue to manifest in your life, which then you will start to walk through that reflection. So it's like, until you deal and process these emotions and these limitations and these, maybe it's a fear of death, it's like, well, your fear of death, starts then being mirrored all over the fucking place. It's like, oh, okay, well, you start seeing people dying, you start seeing all this shit, and it's like confirms it even more. It's like, oh, it's like, this is real because I keep seeing it. And it's like, well, maybe shift your mindset and look at it as like, why did you change your mindset? Now all of a sudden it's just everywhere. This is and it's like, you start making these connections more and more so about how your subconscious has been impressed with these thoughts and these beliefs, and it's being externalized in this kind of dynamic way, and it's like, there's all sorts of ways that this manifests. It's like everything in creation is a result of this. It's like, this isn't something new. It's always been this way. It's like the only difference is now you're becoming aware that this is actually going on. And in that, you can start to create more and more, or experience more and more heaven on earth, versus the fear unconsciously creating hell on earth for you to experience. Because it's like everybody's experiencing a unique state and expressing that in form, but it's always the inner being reflected out into the external, regardless of what it is. And it's like, you can listen to, things like this, where it's like, oh, this is entertaining and this is taking my mind off my problems for a while, which is fine. It's good. It's like, I want to, give energy to people, help get them out of states that are undesirable, but it's on you to continue that flow, because it's like, oh, you can tune into something like this, kind of match frequencies for a while, but then it's like, oh, yeah, I'm unplugged, and then I'm going to maybe a job I hate, a home life I hate, whatever, health related bullshit, drama, whatever it is, and it's like, well, that's all fine and good for him, but he's not dealing with chronic illness or chronic pain or chronic, dysfunctional relationships or and it's like, okay, those are a direct result of your consciousness and your consciousness in relationship to God. Why would you think that God wants you to continuously suffer? That's part of your own beliefs. That's you putting yourself on the cross, basically. That only you can, it's finished. It's time to put on the new you, the I'm wide awake version of yourself, which is what you actually are anyway. It's like, it's not something that you need to try to do. It's just who you are naturally. So the only thing that's the problem is you you believe lies and limiting beliefs and assumptions about who you are and your relationship with God, and that's something that you can start to now. It's like, when do you work on it? Now. It's only ever now. So it's like, what is in your consciousness right now that's preventing you from feeling peace or joy or whatever? And it's like, well, my loved one is having all this health problems, and I'm worried about them, and I'm this and I'm this and I'm that. Well, it's like, once you realize that the other people in your life you're connected with, and your thoughts about their quote unquote illness, or you're afraid and they're going to die, or they're going to be suffering, or this and that, think of it in terms of like, you're putting that into the mirror of your subconscious, which will then project that. Your fears, your worries, your anxieties, the worst case scenarios, they'll never get better, or they're just going to get worse and worse and die a slow, painful death, or whatever you're fearful about. Think about, those are thoughts, and it's one thing that they come and they go. It's another when you start becoming reactive to them and start resisting them, like, like the more that you resist, the more it persists. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to battle and resist it, but I also don't want it to become, something that happens. It's just then realize that you're connected with God, be still, and realize that only love is real, and that whatever's happening in this situation, you're going to see God manifest maybe something impossible. There's a lot of weird examples about, our Creator manifesting weird ways, things that don't make sense to our worldly mind. And it's like, our worldly mind wants things to happen in a certain way, because we think that that's how it should play out. But there's many examples, biblically even, of like, oh, well, that happened totally crazy. And the funny thing is, the more that you kind of practice mindfulness and realizing that you can be, do, or have anything because God's already blessed you, because there's only really two states. There's cursed and blessed. The old man, the old mind of separation and fear is cursed. So anytime you start, falling for illusions of being cursed, and you know what they are, they're draining. You can feel them. You can feel what feeling cursed feels like. So any of those kind of beliefs and assumptions based on being cursed, it's like, oh, well, this, drawing inferences of the past based on being cursed is only going to then in the present moment bring that drama to now, where it's like, wait, I'm blessed, and what does blessed look like in relationship to this? Does that make sense? So you kind of put that on more and more so of feeling blessed, instead of relying on a past belief and assumption that this is not actually serving, because everything in the past that was part of your old worldly mind was created in manifestations of fear and separation. And moving forward, you can draw from the here and now, realize that the quantum possibility exists of all things are being possible, and that that you're blessed, and with that you're connected with God, in this weird way that we're still unpacking and learning exactly what that means. But I think a big part of it has to do with the way that the subconscious mind mirrors the conscious beliefs and assumptions, and with that, whenever external events happen, and you start becoming really reactive, or start getting a bunch of fearful thoughts, realize a lot of that's from past beliefs and assumptions. The version, like the Jesus within you, as the Bible would say, is not in fear and hysteria. So it's a good time to just ask what is real, what is, ask God what to do. Go within, be still, and you might get some old programming that starts to bubble to the surface of your consciousness, which is all things to be let go of. It's all beliefs and assumptions that are not serving and not reflective of the kingdom of God, for example. So looking at things is like you're already in the kingdom. So like use the law of assumption, and be who God created you to be now, as part of realizing that it's God's pleasure to bring you the kingdom. It's already in front of you. It's already here and now. It's within you. So discovering that more and more so, I feel like, is a part of making more and more conscious decisions. Where in the past, decision making a lot of time is based on reactivity and fear, instead of creating in love and harmony and peace. So it's like whenever something happens in your life, instead of reacting, becoming fearful of an us versus them, this binary, realize that that's part of your consciousness that you're experiencing. And would you condemn yourself? No. Would you forgive yourself for thinking that way? Because in all reality, you were innocent in this whole thing. Yes, like it wasn't your fault that you were born into a world that's completely upside down and backwards, and they taught everything that you learned was wrong. It's like, but that doesn't make you a victim either. And so because what happens, in that, even your upbringing and stuff, it's like you're still doing this. It's always been this way. That's part of this. It's always been like this, and everything that's happened as like fearful and hysterical has come from a belief in separation that's been externalized and mirrored back to you. And so the more that you experience like the oneness, the harmony, your new kind of state, I guess, of being blessed, the more you start to see that being reflected. And you can only learn that for like a knowing by doing it yourself. And I encourage you to do it yourself, and get into the Bible, ask God what to do, and other than that, I think I'm gonna bounce. So thanks everybody for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all the social networking things. I appreciate your spiritual support and your financial support. Thank you for that. And until the next now, God bless.